Hello, Syngap.Land. My name is Michael Graglia. Today is Friday, January 10th. Friday, January 10th. Happy New Year! And that means we have a new census out. The census comes out every quarter due to the incredible work of our global collaborative with other organizations in other countries, led by none other than Jess Duggan. So the number is 1,530. CureSyngap1.org/census will always get you to the latest number. CureSyngap1.org/census. That is such an important number. Go read the blog. Burn that number into your head. Tell everyone there's 1,530 people who are diagnosed that have found SRF in the world. There's more than that who are diagnosed, and there's many more than that who are not diagnosed. But that's exciting news to start the new year with. There's a lot more news. Ed Gabler does an amazing job of putting together a newsletter every quarter-ish. And newsletter 42 has come out. So CureSyngap1.org/NL42. Check that out. Thank you so much, Ed. The other thing I want to point you to on our website, CureSyngap1.org/SC24, SC for Science Conference. So this is a blog written about our science conference, but embedded in that blog is 27 videos of all of the talks. So if you weren't able to go to the science conference, or even if you were, but you were outside with a Syngapian, you can watch those science talks and just read that blog to get a sense of what's going on. It's incredibly exciting to see where the science is and how fast it's moving. And then the last thing I want to push you towards on our site, longer link, check it out. Syngap Stories is coming back, and Rainey interviewed Zoe, and man, it was just a really, really exceptional interview. And we all have so much respect for Zoe, who leads our volunteer work and helps volunteers find a home with SRF. But this story of how Zoe went from grieving heavily in the early years, or in the early months, I should say, in the first year, to suddenly being a totally activated volunteer, and from not even being able to contemplate being at a Syngap conference, like, why would I do that? To being like, oh my gosh, it was so life-giving. Like, it's a great podcast. Please listen to Syngap Stories with Zoe. All right, so in the last episode, I said, hey, AAS was woo! But I want to point you to two things about AAS, because after that pod, I had a conversation with one of my friends, Justin West, who leads KCNT1, and KCNT1 is right there with so there's Dravet and Angelman and Rett. These are the large monogenic diseases that are changing the game. And then right behind them, there's another bunch of us, a little smaller, who have worked our way to being next in line. And I would put KCNT1, Fox G1, ourselves and others in that list. So my dear friend Dr. Justin West, who is just an amazing human being, and I were talking about AAS, and we just agreed that everybody there who's been for a few years kind of felt the temperature change. You know, before it's always like, yeah, one day we're working on it maybe, but things are getting real. Timelines are moving faster, right? Our job now is to double down. It's to convince donors that we need more money to push as fast as humanly possible to make sure that we don't miss opportunities, because opportunities are popping up really fast. And then that tells us that we need to stop talking to families in the language of one day this is going to happen, and more in the this is coming soon, get ready, right? This is coming soon, get ready. Is it going to happen this year? Maybe. Is it going to happen in 2026? Something's going to happen to it. Like, I can really feel things coming fast. And this is the time, folks. 2025 is the year when I really want you to plug in, start listening carefully, make sure you subscribe to this podcast, make sure your spouse subscribes, make sure your parents, aunts, uncles, everybody gets it, because things are about to get really interesting in Syngap land. And the way you're ready for that, the way you can jump on opportunities, is by plugging in now. Which brings me to studies happening now. Rochester, eye tracking, sleep. If you're not signed up for Rochester, eye tracking, and sleep, get on it, right? There's also, I mentioned Longboard is recruiting. If you have a child with countable motor seizure, you should be doing that. Mike, how do we keep track of all this stuff? Well, there's a link in the show notes, guys. We have a public-facing spreadsheet with every single study and trial that you can take part of. Studies are where an academic researcher is trying to learn about Syngap and publish a paper that helps us develop better therapies for kids. And trials are actual, we're going to put stuff in kids and see if we can make them better, right? So there's trials right now. Longboard is doing a trial that Syngapians are eligible for if you have countable motor seizures. Not absence seizures. Countable motor seizures, you should be talking to Longboard. And then There's a number of trials, and the Rochester eye tracking and sleep are on the top of my list. Go check out that link. I also shared another link of Peter Halliburton shared a story on X. It was the 1 year anniversary. I called Peter a little over a year ago. I said, hey, Dr. Grinspan wants to trial Ravicti. Carter has countable motor seizures. You should do this. Peter said, okay. And it hasn't been all roses. It's been a little up and down. But guess what? Carter's not seizing much, if at all. Check out Peter's story. Links in the show notes. I mean, guys, Carter's not seizing because of a trial. And now he's on a drug. And is Carter 100% back? No, there's other issues, his behaviors and such. But those seizures are bad, right? So, when I'm urging you to do these studies and trials, it can help your kid. And doing the studies, even if it's not a trial, can build your muscle of filling in these IRBs and these consents and talking to researchers, because very soon, guys, we're going to be asking you to do trials with precision medicines. And not only can that change your child's life, but it could help our whole community. And all this takes money. So the Coast to Coast Challenge, congratulations, Suzanne Jones, for driving that. We have raised $338,280. I think that's a wrap. Great work. Hopefully that will help us fund more natural history sites. Everybody can fundraise, guys. Everybody can fundraise. Syngap.Fund/FR is our fundraising page. And we got to make one of the new short links for that. And I want to call out Nicholas, the Nicholas family in Serbia. Do I have that right? Let me look this up. I want to get this right. They're in Serbia, and where is this note? Yes, they got diagnosed and they wanted to do a fundraiser. And this guy works for a company, and he emailed his whole company and he said, hey, let's raise some money. Got to help my kid. My kid's got Syngap. They raised $3,780. That's a family in Serbia. Not a country, frankly, famous for its philanthropic culture. But this is a newly diagnosed parent who sent an email to his company and raised almost $4,000. Guys, if everybody around the world raised $4,000, we would have $6 million. Can you tell I have a math degree? So everybody can raise money. If you can raise $100, great. If you can raise $4,000, amazing. If you can raise $100,000, call me. Let's do it. There is so much work we can be doing. I have companies with who have molecules that need funds to trial them. There's mice, there's IPs, so much going on. And the board is about to meet soon, and we've got this many proposals and this much funding. It's always that. So, Mike, when do we have enough money? We don't. When do we have enough money? When every child with Syngap is cured. And that is not happening quite yet, guys. So let's move faster. Speaking of which, Mike, I'm so motivated. How do I raise money? Sprint for Syngap is coming soon. Sprint for Syngap will be in April of this year. Look forward to communications from Anthony in February about that, but the link is in the show notes. Check out the website. It's not too early to make a team. If you've done it before, thank you. Please do it again. Let's all start getting ready for Sprint. Sprint is a fundraiser primarily. We're going to raise money, but it's a chance to have an event and invite your community in. In fact, if you go and listen to Zoe's podcast, which I talked about a minute ago, she talks about how she got diagnosed, she was grieving, she was sad, and then she did a Sprint for Syngap the following year, and it was like a coming out party. Her words, not mine. And how powerful that was for her. So check it out. Check it out, guys. We're asking you to do things, but I would never ask you to do something that didn't help you too, right? Because that's just how I am. And doing a Sprint for Syngap can help you build a community around your Syngapian. It can help you tell your neighbors, your friends, your loved ones, your church, your whatever, hey, this kid needs more help, and I need you to be one of the helpers. So it's powerful. Wrapping up, I wanted to talk about Volunteer Spotlight. Ed Gabler is just tireless. I started talking about the newsletter, census. They had a staff meeting yesterday with all the directors, and all roads lead back to Ed. So I just want to thank Ed and give him a shout out for his tireless work. He's a grandpa who holds together comms and marketing. We are so lucky to have you, Ed. Thank you so much. Check him out. And if you interact with Ed at all, just send him a thank you. Ed at curesyngap1.org. He really, the work he does it really is valuable. Go look at our socials. Go look at our social channels. All that communicating, all those tiles, all that stuff. Ed makes it happen with a team and with support and others. But it's Ed is the quarterback on comms, and we would not be as effective as we are without him. So thank you, Ed. Research update. If you go to PubMed, there's 312 papers on SYNGAP, 0 this year in 2025 so far. That's going to change probably on Monday. Wink, wink. But in 2024, there were 54 papers. That is a record. And that is about 17% of the total papers. So the total scientific knowledge about SYNGAP that is published is 312 papers. 54 of those were last year. That tells you the two things I've said are true. Number one, SRF is having impact because a lot of those papers we helped drive. And the temperature is rising around SYNGAP. There's a lot more interest. 17% of the total scientific knowledge that humanity has about SYNGAP happened in the past 12 months. Amazing. Great work, team. Let's keep going. This is not a time to slow down. This is a time to double down. Conference is December 4th and 5th. I know, seems a little far away, but not really. You can buy your tickets right now. Tickets to Atlanta don't get cheaper. Look them up. Get a Google tracker. Wait for them to go down. Buy those tickets. Be with us in Atlanta. It's going to be a rager, and I really am excited. Social media matters. Make sure you're following us on all socials. We got 1250 on YouTube, 3899 on LinkedIn. Gosh, I would love us to have 4,000 people on LinkedIn. Make sure, if you're on LinkedIn, get on there, reshare our content, tell your friends to follow SRF, learn about us and support us. It's such an important channel. We got like 11,000-ish on Twitter, tons on Insta and TikTok. But really, guys, it's about YouTube and LinkedIn for me these days. Make sure you are following us on LinkedIn and YouTube. Make sure you are sharing our content there. If you're newly diagnosed, Syngap.Fund/resources. We need a short link for that too, Ed. And then this is a podcast. People find us through podcasts. People search SYNGAP when they're walking out of diagnosis meetings, and they listen to podcasts on the way home. Give this a 5-star rating on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, whatever you listen to podcasts. Make sure people find SYNGAP 10 and know that they can connect with our community. Thank you so much. This has been episode 157. Have a wonderful January. I will talk to you next week.